Yeah, I'll send you it later. After I get off this.
How does it work? Do you know? Have you played it?
Oh, I've played it. I have.
How does it work?
You basically here. One second. I'm opening my stream. Give me a second. You basically we get in a team and there's like voice chat in the game and everything. And let me see if there's anyone in here. One second. What the heck is going on YouTube? There we go. You get on a team and you get dropped in this like in the plains and around with towns and stuff. What's going on, Charles? And you have like access to a radar in a car and you like try to chase tornadoes and get good pictures of it and stuff and not get hit by the tornado. It's really cool, dude. It's a good time. Get it. I'll send you. I'll refund you later. We're gonna be on me, you, Matt. Let me see if Matt can get one other person. Because if you have 4 people, you can get on a private server. You can make your own private server like that. What's going on, Irish? Let's see here. Severe weather. There we go. Okay, I'm live on TikTok and YouTube now. So yeah, basically you drop in onto a map. There's severe weather coming and you have access to like. It's the graphics are terrible. It's in like a very early phase, but you've access to like all these radars and everything, and you want to kind of pick which cell looks the best. They give you access to a bunch of really cool stuff that like people who understand weather can understand better, and it's just a fun time. You know, we know we're just gonna have some brewskis and play some and chase some tornadoes, dude.
I have my card in here. Crap, where's my wallet?
All right, do it, and I'll refund you after. I'll call you when we're getting on.
I'll play again on Valorant real fast.
All right, see ya. What's going on, guys? That was the little broski. Some good snow moving through upstate New York right now into Vermont. Like, Vermont needs any more snow. But some good snow moving in. What's going on, everyone? We got people coming in on TikTok, a couple people on YouTube. All right. We've got the latest GFS18Z. You know, I'm still watching this, man. You know, if you had to tell me, if I had to tell you, do I think this is going to be a nor'easter? No. But if you ask me, do you think there's no chance this turns into a mid-Atlantic nor'easter? I couldn't say that. I mean, it all depends what happens with this piece of energy up here to the north. We'll take a look at it. You know, if this thing slows down and digs in a little harder, it could push this out, and you could have a mid-Atlantic classic nor'easter. That chances of that are pretty low. They're pretty low, but it's not off the table. So I'm a snow lover. I'm still watching the potential there. It's possible. We've seen stuff like that happen in this type of setup. We can really see in a 500 millibar right here, or in our 500 millibar vorticity. Problem is the cold air. It looks like you have. It looks like this should be a lot of cold air, right? This is a trough. No, your main kind of polar jet right here, your main jet stream, your polar jet is up here to the north. So this is where the freezing air is. So you have all this divergence and a nice big kind of tilting trough that wants to pull in a nor'easter and probably will, but more for New England. The problem is this is the cold air, and the cold air gets down here too late. This is your freezing air, and it arrives really through here, and it arrives a little bit too late. But there's some model runs that actually take this piece to the north, this main kind of polar jet up here to the north, and actually have it kind of down like this much farther. If that happened, you'd have the temperatures out here, you know, in your classic mid-Atlantic coastal area to you know, New York City, Philly, Jersey, to actually see snow from this. Not looking great. But we'll have to see what happens with our 0-0s tonight. You can see that cold air really wants to. This is our coldest air to the north. So that looks like right now this would be a monster blizzard for like Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, portions of upstate New York. This, I mean, 978 millibar low. You would have really intense, maybe 3+ inch accumulation per hour. Snowfalls up there if this were to happen. So, but we'll see. You know, there's a chance it shifts south. Shifting south won't do much though if our coldest air stays to the north. So we'll have to see this trough amplify up north a tiny bit and help to pull in that cold air if we want snow farther to the south with that system. Our severe weather, What is going on, Zenith? Our severe weather still looking pretty crazy. We've got our day 5. We talked about this. We talked about this in the stream yesterday, potentially expanding the slight risk zone. Remember, the slight risk was here and the enhanced was here yesterday. Here's that expansion we were talking about. As we get closer in time, we'll see this zone expand. There it is, the enhanced. I still expect to possibly get a moderate here. I think we will. And I think the slight risk when we get closer will expand maybe even a tiny bit more. Not much more, but maybe even a tiny bit more. And then we'll probably have a marginal out here. We'll probably have a marginal risk out here too. So that's for next Tuesday. Seriously, we could have a serious outbreak there. We need to watch that. Day 6, what did we talk about in the stream yesterday that I thought this would stretch up into portions of the mid-Atlantic? There it is. It did. It moved north, that slight risk. Right bordering with Philadelphia now. Again, I think when it's all said and done and we get into next Wednesday, I think we will have that slight risk over central New Jersey and Philly. Maybe even up to New York City. I don't know about that, though. But maybe, based on our latest future radar and this trough ejection that we're having, that's kind of re-amplifying as it gets towards the coast. We have a big amplification of the trough through here, dies out a little bit, and then we have another big amplification through here. That's going to really pick up, these wind speeds, velocities. We're going to have probably some good enough shear with the lift out ahead of this front. So we might even see it enhanced in here. We'll have to see. This is what it's looking like on. I'll get to questions in a second, guys. This is what it's looking like on the GFS. I don't want an outbreak either, but I'm just telling you what's a possibility. You just gotta prep for, Here it is. There's getting into Tuesday. Here's getting into Wednesday. You can see this thing wanting to really stretch up the coast. You can see it a little bit better on the Euro. The Euro's has, showing you a less kilometer map. It's going to be more detailed. You can see here, this thing, you could have QLCS tornadoes wanting to spin up. I mean, just based on the future radar, we can get into our jets in a second, but that's anywhere along that line. So that's why I think the slide could go a little bit farther north. We look at our 850 millibar, so kind of surface jet as we push out. Here's our first big kind of ejection here where we're getting some really strong velocities through here. Portions of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Eastern Texas up towards Tennessee. But watch what happens as we push back out towards the coast. Okay, there it is. We'll see it kind of fade out a little bit, and then here we go again. We start to see this thing wanting to kick up again up here towards the north, which I think is why we're getting this slight could even go farther. That's just the surface. That's just our surface jet. This is our 500 millibar. So again, look at this. I mean, this area in particular here with our surface and mid-level jet looks very, very intense. Very, very intense. There's Reed was talking about how we might have some of these winds outpacing the system or some of this ejection outpacing the system. We'll have to see. Again, we can still see we're holding some pretty strong velocities here with our mid-level jet as we push out east. Dew points look pretty good still. We got an upper-level jet doing some stuff too. Let's look at our dew points. I haven't looked. This is the Euro 18Z. Let's look at our dew points on here. I want to see what's going on with that real quick, guys. Have we seen this? Yeah, it's going pretty far north. This is pulled off a tiny bit from the 12Z. I think we were seeing close to 60s a little bit higher up. That's good for us up here. Let's cut down on a little bit of that lift up to the north. Still, this is interesting. Let me look back at the 12Z of the Euro. I'll get to questions in a second, guys. Let me look back to the 12Z of the Euro. It was actually pretty similar. I'm probably thinking of the GFS. Let's look at our GFS. GFS is doing a little bit more with dew points. 18Z, what are we looking at? Not looking insane. This out here is problematic. Right here, this is our problematic area. Don't love to see that. Let me get back just to the future radar here. Our composite. Yeah, this thing could be sparking up early in the morning. That's the problem too. We could get a surprise early in the morning through this region here: eastern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, western Louisiana, southwestern Arkansas. Early on Tuesday morning. And then this thing is going to really, juice up as it moves east. We're seeing potentially a downtrend of very significant tornadoes like long track EF2 pluses, but it's still possible, and we have to watch as this moves forward. This still is going to be, whether we get this big tornado outbreak or not, hopefully we don't, it's going to be a major wind event, I think, with this frontal boundary. So, all right. Anyways, I'm going to be, some of you guys know Mesomat, I'm going to be doing something different tonight. I'm going to be streaming the Outbreak game, if you guys know what that is, after this. It's just it's not really new. It came out at the end of last year. It's literally a video game that you're a storm chaser in the video game. And so I'm just going to be playing that with Mesomat tonight for fun and streaming it. So, but that's going to be in about 15 minutes. So I just want to talk a little bit right now. Are you using the website you told me about yesterday? Which one did you tell me about yesterday? Was it... I have it in here. It was College of Dupage. Am I saying that right? Is that the one you told me? Can you give me an explanation on what the dew point is? Yeah, the higher... I can give you the short answer or the long answer. Is this the one you were talking about, dude? One second. Is this the one you were talking about? Yeah, I'm going to be playing with him. I will be. And then we've got all the models and everything. I gotta explore this. I haven't explored this site too much, so I gotta explore it a little bit. And I will. Okay, so here's how dew point works. Let me give you guys a quick lesson. Honestly, dew point's always been a little confusing to me. It's weird. Dew point's a weird thing, but this is the temperature at which the air becomes completely saturated. The higher your dew point, typically the more convective availability you're going to see in a region. So when you see these higher dew points, you're typically going to have the ability for some very, very significant convection overhead. So what we look at, we can look at our jet. We can look at our jet stream, and we can see the velocities, right? Which we were looking at before. We have very strong velocities through here. We can look at our soundings and everything. I can just click on a sounding here, and we'll probably see the wind shear. Look at this shear. Okay, so we're talking about this is down. This is at the lower levels. This is only up to 700 millibar height. We're going from southerly winds to westerly winds just up in the bottom layer of the atmosphere here. This is actually an interesting sounding. I can't believe I picked this one out. So you have this shear, which means winds just in the bottom layer of the atmosphere are moving like this into each other. This creates rotation at the surface. We've got high dew points. The air is going to be super saturated. We've got this spinning of the wind. You can see what's happening here with our if you were to see, this is showing like 55 knots. You can see, you can kind of read by each one of these lines here how strong this wind is. If these barbs are out here, guys, this means the wind is coming from this direction. So the wind is blowing actually that way. A lot of people look at these and they think, oh, this means the wind is blowing this way. No. Wind is blowing that way. So we have some wind shear down here. We can get some rotating columns of air at the surface. We've got some significant dew points. We're gonna have some dry air out ahead of some very saturated air. Some dry air moving into some very saturated air. And we can look at our jet streams. We can look what is gonna help kind of if you don't have any lower level jet, and mid level jet, and upper level jet, you can get these systems that move through, and you have some decent dew points. You've got some decent lift. You've got some decent wind shear, but you need something to kind of crank this system up, and that's going to be that's going to be a jet. We have a high pressure out here. What way do winds move around a high pressure in the northern hemisphere? They move clockwise like this. We've got a low pressure out here. This actually moved to the end. Let me show you better. Let me move this forward. Here it is. Okay. We've got a high pressure out here. We've got these upper level winds moving like this. We've got a low pressure out here. We've got these upper level winds moving counterclockwise. What's going to happen in between here is we're going to have basically a trough ejection. And we're going to have all of this instability because of the stuff I was just talking about. And we're going to have our lower level, mid-level, upper level jets begin to crank through here. And that is when you get things starting to spin up. That's when you get all the twisty boys, okay? You take that big pile of mess, all of that wind shear, these high dew points, this saturated air, this lifting air, because you have cool air moving into warm air. That warm air is going to rise. The cold air is going to sink under it. That's going to help tilt up these columns of air. And then the jet stream is going to help spin that up, right? It's almost like Beyblade, like let it rip. And then you also have this dry air out here. This can act, you're going to have dry air moving into moist air as well. That causes instability just as much as cold air moving into hot air. But so these are all things we look at. There's some weird things going on with this storm. Sometimes you can have these trough ejections that kind of outpace the instability, which is what, I want to bring Matt in here to talk about this because he's great at this, which is what might happen. And if that does happen, then we're going to see a very strong squall line, but we might not see these EF2, EF3, EF4, super tornadoes, which we don't want to see. We would instead see a strong squall line and not these major, massive tornadoes out ahead of this. These supercellular, these mesocyclone, kind of monsters that we get scared of every year. So that's something we're watching, especially once we get within 72 to 48 hours and we get on the short range models, we can really see what's going to happen there. Is our jet going to kind of outpace some of this instability? Are we going to be able to have that really strong vorticity? Yeah, get Matt in here. I know, right? Sometimes Matt talks even too quickly for me when it comes to severe weather. So, let me see here. But yeah, these dew points, these dew points are really decent down here. This is a pretty concerning look. What are our temperatures at this time? That's actually a question I want to see. Look at that. Let's get back here. I want to see these temperatures. It's going to be some saturated air. Everywhere has experienced the worst of their weather. Nader Valley is getting wrecked this year. It's projected to be, there's meteorologists calling for a record spring, record severe weather spring. We don't know that's for sure. We do typically have our worst outbreaks, severe weather outbreaks, in Enzo neutral to weak La Nina type cycles, especially Enzo neutrals. So we have the Enzo cycle that would promote it. We're going to have the MJO cycle that's going to promote it. We have the MJO in its phase 8, phase 1, moving over the U.S. So that's during spring, and that comes with a lot more saturation. And that can come with a lot more storminess as well. So you have the Enzo in the right phase. We're going to have the MJO in the right phase. And both these things combined, are why people, and we're gonna have likely some record or close to record warmth down here. We already do in some areas in the ocean temperatures. So you just put these factors together, and it's not too insane. What's going on, Matt? It's not too insane to call for the possibility of a record-breaking, severe weather spring. I don't want, it's hard to break these records. I'm not going to call for record-breaking, but I wouldn't take the over on that, but there is potential for it. Feds, what is going on? Us. Lee, what is poppin'? NATO Nation. You said about a week ago that it's possible for Central Ohio to see a snowstorm. Do you think it's still possible? Yeah, it is. Hey, Matt, I want to get you here in a second before we start playing a game, too. Here's the latest run of the GFS. It's putting snow in Ohio. Does it get down to Central? We'll see. Latest run of the GFS. It's a little bit out here for snow forecasting. But you can see what it wants to do here. It wants about 4 to 7 inches through central and northern Ohio next week. So, yeah, still a possibility. Still a possibility. Matt, do you want to hop in here real quick and break down the severe weather for them? I do my best, but this is where he thrives. This is where Matt thrives. Let's see. The Euro00Z had something crazy last night for March 9th. Yeah, this. Yeah. I know. This is what I was telling you guys. You know, people are like, yeah, there's no possibility for a nor'easter. I'm like, there's still a possibility. More likely than not, our air is going to be too warm down here. Most likely than not, it's going to be slightly too warm. We were looking at this earlier. There's still a possibility for a nor'easter. I'd give it less than a 2% chance, but still a possibility. You know, this, let's get back to the 12Z. This is the look right now. This would be kind of almost a perfect angle for it, but you can see we have rain here. This, our main cold air is right up here to the north. This is just kind of, you know, this is, I don't know, guys. And if this sinks down, this would probably actually push this a little bit farther off the coast or a little bit farther to the south. We were looking at the 500 millibar vorticity map earlier. Let's take a look at this. So here's the issue. As we get out here, this would be towards next Friday. So here's our system. Here's the coldest air to the north. Here's our coldest. Here's our freezing air to the north. It looks like this is a jet that's dipping down that should have some cold air in it, but it's not. This is our main kind of polar jet up here to the north. If this digs down maybe a little bit farther back here, it just depends how this moves in. We're going to have to see this piece of energy to the north move. Right now, it doesn't look like it's gonna. Right now, it looks like this thing actually may just get shoved straight off the coast. We may not even get rain up here from this, but we'll see. I'm going to make a video about this tomorrow once I see the 00Z run come out tonight. There hasn't been too much consistency in the models across the GFS Canadian or Euro on this event next week yet, which is fine. It's still 180 plus hours out, you know? It's kind of normal. Nick, what's popping? Are you resetting your stream or staying on? I'm going to reset once I do it. So I'll say I'll be on here for another 10 minutes, Matt, and then I'll get off stream, get back on, and we'll do it. All right, I'm gonna call Matt real quick. Let's get Matt in here. Let's see. Mezzo. Wait, what? Where are you? Why is your name not showing up for me? Hold up. What the heck? Where'd you go? Sorry, guys. I'm looking to bring him in the stream. Give me a second. Invite. Matt, did you block me? Let's see here. Let's see. Matt, request to join. If you want to. Connor, could you straighten out that hook in the chart? Don't need any bad weather. Yeah. Oh, there we go. View. All right.
Sorry, I was so confused. I thought you were just going to call me. I was like, wait, what? Because I was watching on YouTube.
There he is. Chat, can you hear him?
What's up?
All right, chat. Matt, Carissa said, what's up, Carissa?
How you feeling, Connor?
Feeling pretty good. It's mezzo soup.
Miso soup.
What up, Sam? All right, Matt. Give us the update. You know, I was trying to talk to them about, you know, the possibility. Explain to them what Reed was talking about earlier with the possibility of this being more of a wind event than a tornado event.
Yeah, so we're seeing less instability values. The NAM's already first run through NAM on Tuesday morning. It stops at 6 a.m. I already see the underdone, but I think that'll change still. But the shear is going to be what I call kind of volatile. We're going to have a mid-level jet stream of about 120 plus knots and a low-level jet of almost 100 knots, which even given the low instability values, we're going to have a windbag event that could extend from like southern Illinois into Kentucky all the way down to Louisiana. Now, the bigger tornado risk is going to be northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and southwestern Mississippi, maybe northwestern Mississippi if the instability and moisture can extend that far north. But I think because our trough is so big and just the wind is going to kind of override everything, I just wonder if it's going to suppress the instability. We'll see what the short-term models do when they come in tomorrow. Another thing, though, I do want to say, watch Sunday on the NAM 3K. We got a tiny little tornado potential, northwestern Oklahoma, southwestern Kansas. Do not sleep on that.
Are you talking about this Sunday? Oh, with
Yes.
NAM 3K.
Yes.
You
That's
definitely are.
Yeah. The NAM also shows it. Both do show it.
Oh, wow.
There is a little bit of TOR parameters. If you look on the parameters, there's a decent amount of instability, and the dew points are right at 55 to 60.
Let me see. I'm looking at this a little bit closer. Well, here, let me go into severe weather.
You see some of the helicity rotation tracks on that northwestern cell too. Should be at least.
Interesting.
The HER does it as well. Also, the newest OZ HER shows it too.
Very interesting.
It's like a 4-hour window through daytime heating on Sunday.
Yeah. Wow. That's actually. Well, actually, the low level shear isn't too bad. Well, this is just one sounding I pulled up, but the shear isn't
right.
too bad. Interesting.
Capping can do some interesting things too. So it'll be mostly capped out, but once that cap gets broken on Sunday, you might get one shot at it. I know there's a lot of chasers. Reed's chasing it on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, they're going. A bunch of the chasers that I follow are going to chase this on Sunday just to get warmed up for the event on Tuesday.
Yeah, this is interesting. Pulling from out here, there's some shear out ahead of this.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep, the shortwave trough's pretty decent too. Yep. I also really want to watch Monday night. I think we get a marginal for Sunday. I think we get a marginal, maybe a slight overnight for Monday night into Tuesday morning for that convection and the instability that's going to develop from basically southern Kansas along the Vortmax, all the way down through Oklahoma and southern Texas. Because if you watch the European from this afternoon, it's got storms at like 4 o'clock in the morning, pretty intense wise from Texas up to Oklahoma, which with that instability being in place would be potentially possible.
What's surprising me is, and my pivotal weather's frozen. What's surprising me is the come on, get me back here. Get me back. National is the just sudden blow up of storms, how quickly it happens in the model run.
Yep.
Let me go back to show you guys. Let me go back to show chat. This goes from nothing to something like look at this.
Yep.
Real quick.
That's that instability and that EML kicking in. That dry line. Elevated mixed layer does some magic.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, it's really looking like Dallas Fort Worth is going to kick off the fun.
Yep.
And Oklahoma City.
I was talking with another friend that storm faces, and they were saying even if we get just at 500 joules per kilogram of instability anywhere across the risk zone, I mean, we could easily see a long track violent tornado.
Yeah. All right. Well, it'll be fun to see the NAM, and tomorrow we'll
get her tomorrow night too. Should start to see the her for Tuesday morning as well tomorrow night.
Nice, sick. All right, I'm gonna be on here. I'm gonna answer some more questions for probably like
I'll get set up
5 more minutes, and I'll be on with you in a second.
Sounds good.
See ya. Thanks, Matt. Legend. What a legend, guys. See how obsessed he is with severe weather? Creep. No, I'm just kidding. No, he loves his stuff. Nick, I appreciate you. Fav, I appreciate you. Brittany, what's going on? What is the polar vortex looking like right now? Yeah, let's get updates on that bad boy. It wants to do some freaky stuff. Some freaky stuff at the end of March. 3rd week of March, kind of. Polar vortex, what are you trying to do to us? Let's take a look. I've had no time to get some other meteorologists. Oh my gosh. What is this? This is super weird, guys. This is like a stratospheric. You always hear stratospheric heating events, but this is a stratospheric cooling event, major stratospheric cooling event over the U.S. with huge stratospheric heating over northwestern Canada, Alaska. This is something, if it were to happen in January, February, would give like all-time record cold temperatures for the states from the West Coast to the East Coast. This is interesting. I really need... this is very, very... This is... let me go to the GFS, guys. Let me go to the GFS. Hold up. This is something I'm going to have to dive into. I'm not going to get into too much today. I'll dive into this in my video tomorrow. I promise you. I'll dive into this, and then I think I promised something else. But very, 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 very unstable stratosphere. Stratospheric polar vortex. Insanely unstable stratospheric polar vortex pushing into the end of the 2nd week and into the 3rd week of March. This is going to have some repercussions lagging behind it, potentially 3rd week, 4th week of March down here. Interesting. I wonder what this looks like on the anomaly. This probably looks wild on the anomaly. Let's see, guys. Jesus. This right here. Oh, look at that. Shout severe weather to me. Wow. Let's look at the Euro anomaly here. Stratospheric anomaly. Matt just invited me. Let's look at the Euro. Guys, we could have... Listen, if you like weather, this is going to be a significant... Wow. If you like record kind of insane weather stuff happening, watch the last 2 weeks of March. This is the most displaced stratospheric vortex I've ever seen in my life. Now, this hasn't happened yet, so it might not happen like this. This would be ridiculous. Look at, you got all Florida in the stratospheric polar vortex. You've got Cuba down there in our little anomaly stratospheric polar vortex there. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna dive into that and get some opinions, and we'll talk about that in the video tomorrow. The heck, that... Sometimes I just get kind of... I don't even... I get a loss for words. Hello, Julie. Yeah. Well, yeah, blue's cold, red's warm. Yeah, basically. Red high pressure, blue low pressure. Typically where the red and the blue meet is where you get your divergence, is where you get your storms, but the blue's a low pressure that's typically associated with colder air, and the red's a high pressure that's typically associated with warming air. Good Lord, I hope that thing don't happen. I don't even really know. Looking at it, I'm like, God, what would this... I got to dive into it a little bit deeper before. I don't want to give you guys any bad information, but it's a look I haven't really seen. I haven't seen that drastic of a split happen. So, again, we talked about it yesterday. A real, an actual a true stratospheric polar vortex split usually happens once every 2 years. Sometimes you can go 3 years without seeing one. This would be the second of the year. And this would maybe be one of the most significant ones we've seen in a long time. So we'll watch it. Connie, you think we have a setup for southern snow? It's going to be tough at this point. Now, with what's happening with that stratospheric polar vortex at the end of March, you would think, but it's just going to be so late at that point. Getting no matter, even with crazy events happening, cold air events happening up in the stratosphere over the lower 48 late in March. It's late in March, early April. It's so hard. Even if we had some record sinking cold air, it's going to be so hard to get that snow down in the south. So I still think we have a chance all the way up through the third week of March, just based on teleconnections and model runs right now. I think I still, I'm, from what I've looked, I haven't seen anything that tells me there's no chance to get cold enough air down into the south again in the third week of March. But it's not looking fantastic. There's some years you look at it and you're like, it's March. It's like the first week of March, and you're like, we have such a warming trend out east. It's not going to happen. We're not seeing a major warming trend out east. We're seeing, you can see trough after trough, still digging in, wanting to dig down to the south. You can see it right there again, wanting to dig to the south. And then you can see out here at the end of the run too, some pretty significant cold air sinking out here as well. So here's your ridge, here's your trough. So we'll watch through the third week of March. It's still possible. It's just not a great chance. Will St. Louis be free from severe weather, especially tornado threat? No, you guys got to pay attention on Tuesday. Pay attention on Tuesday. You're not in the worst place for this event, but pay attention on Tuesday. Here you go. Expect this severe to... I don't think it's going to expand too much more from here, but a little bit, and then probably a marginal out here. Do you think the Mid-Atlantic will cool down later in March? Yeah, it does look like it will, right? It does look like it will, which is interesting because we've been so cold. I went over that in my video today. This area of the country, if you took from November 1st all the way through March 1st, which is tonight at midnight, this area of the country has been colder than normal. And while you have the rest of the globe slowly warming, barely, it's not anything to be too concerned about it. But this area is 3 months of below average temperatures for the month on average. Obviously, it's been a little bit warmer up in the Mid-Atlantic in the last couple of days. We're gonna have a cool down again this weekend, but on average over the last 3 months, we've actually been below average because we've had some really really big cold snaps here. I think if you guys watched my video, the big winner for cold air was through here. This was the big winner for cold air. this winter, the coldest air. And then down here was the big winter for way above average temperatures. Anyone live down there? You guys saw way above average temperatures, which is crazy because you saw a foot of snow down here. And I tell people this all the time. When NOAA comes out with their outlook and they go, oh, we expect the winter to be above average temperatures here. And people go, oh, we're not going to get snow. I live here. Well, guess what? Louisiana, specifically this area, saw significantly above average temperatures this winter. It was one of the hottest winters you've had in decades, and you guys got a foot of snow. So all it takes, and I say this all the time, all it takes is one storm. It doesn't matter how hot you've been. If you get enough cold air collapsing down here, you'll get a big cold outbreak, you'll get snow, and then you'll get back to getting hot again. But it doesn't matter what, when NOAA thought at the beginning of the year we'd have heat here and we'd have colder temperatures here. They thought this was going to be the temperature outlook. They were kind of right. It was kind of heat down here, and then this was all average, and then this was colder. Sorry, I'm drawing everywhere, but yeah, that's why sometimes when you're actually in the warmer sector of NOAA's outlooks, you have a better chance for snow because you have a better chance for storm systems and moisture, above average moisture. So, all right, I got to get off here in a second. I'll answer a couple more questions, and then I'm going to get off stream, and I'm going to get back on stream, and I'm going to be gaming, playing a tornado chasing game with Matt. Doesn't pose much of a risk to the south. Yeah, I mean, I was showing you guys what these outlooks are looking like right now. Day 5 outlook, day 6 outlook. This is going to shift off east. You're going to see the severe weather shift off east into the north like this. So I would say, everyone in this region next week, everyone in that circled region needs to be weather, to have an ability to get some weather alerts. You could even see it down in here in Florida. You could see some severe weather down in central Florida. You want to have ability to get some weather alerts. Obviously, the worst of it looks like it'll probably be, honestly, we may see the worst of it back here a little bit further. I would actually put this risk back here. Pretty big system. Yeah, if we were to see that split, it would extend our winter significantly, but not really. I think you'd just see. I think the south would be transitioning into spring. The surface would be too warm. I think you'd see the central region and northern region potentially get some cooler air hanging around the end of March and into April. Charles, I really got to look at that though. I got to dive into that. I didn't expect to see it that drastic. Snow in Utah next week. Look at this. Some good snow okay snow in Utah and Colorado Monday. Utah's had a really bad winter, and then as you get into next Wednesday and Thursday, this could be a major snowstorm for the Rockies. That's a lot of snow. 990 millibar low pressure already. So Arizona weather 6th through the 9th. Well, this is the 6th. So 6th to the 8th. I'm watching the 5th, maybe even the 5th through the 8th for some decent cold air and snow moving into Arizona. Thoughts on Atlantic hurricane season with the La Nina? Well, I did a video on this the other day. Guys. Do you guys remember the 2004 to like 2007, 2009 hurricane seasons? They were like the worst we've ever had. They were all... Let me show you something. Let me show you guys something. Why is this... Sorry, that's not what I wanted to pull up. I want you guys to notice something here. Okay. Why doesn't this have our end zone neutrals? Monstrous hurricane seasons through here. Why does this not... I mean, we can go into week... I want you guys to look at something. Week El Nino to week La Nina. So this is like the in between our end zone neutral. Let me see if I can circle these for you guys. We're missing a couple. Okay, so this was a strong La Nina. Okay, so 2004. So 04. We have 05. We have... Where's our 06? Where's our 06? Oh, it's right there. 06. And then we had a 07. I'm getting to a point here, guys. This is an important point. I'm getting to an important point. 2007. That's 2008. Okay, there. That's a La Nina. But so 07 was the exception, and then 08. Okay. Go look at these hurricane seasons, guys. Wilma, Charlie, Katrina, Ivan, Gene, Francis. Go look at these hurricane seasons. What do they have in common? They're weak La Nina, weak El Nino, Enzo neutrals. We are, here's what happens. Strong La Ninas, strong El Ninos, you're typically, and you do sometimes, but you're typically, let me actually pull this out so you guys can see this. How did I get into here? You're typically not going to see major hurricane seasons with this. Now you definitely can. There's been seasons with big hurricanes in there. And you're typically not going to see it out here. Now 2007 was a good hurricane season. These are the seasons where you can get very, very, this and then your Enzo neutrals, you can get very, very, very strong hurricanes. And very, not really even the amount of hurricanes, but significant, especially significant hurricanes coming out of the Caribbean and Gulf and landfalling hurricanes. So I would say this, when you're in strong El Nino, your jet stream is punching through. Your jet stream is punching through down here, disrupting, bringing a lot of shear. Here, let me close this out 1 second. Matt, I'm coming. Don't worry. Strong El Nino, you've got your jet stream ripping through here. This is tearing apart. Hurricanes. You can also get a significant amount of shear with the strong La Nina. When you have an Enzo neutral and you have a weak jet stream that's just flopping around here like a dead fish, you typically aren't experiencing large amounts of shear through this region, and you just have. Hurricanes have much more of a potential to float through here unobstructed. So without dealing with any sort of weakening. So yes, if you were to ask me and again, it is being projected that we'll have record or close to record temperature waters. What's the main thing that fuels hurricanes is water temperature. And if we are going to be, in this weak La Nina Enzo neutral and we're not going to have that tight jet stream, yeah, I'd expect us to have a very good hurricane season. Last hurricane season was supposed to be, we were supposed to see a lot more storms. The only thing that affected it was the first half of hurricane season. All of your hurricanes kind of develop off the western coast of Africa out here from tropical waves. There was a lot of Saharan dust and dry air out here that wasn't projected. That's almost impossible to project. And that shut down the first 4 months of hurricane season. If that hadn't have been there, we probably would have had a record-breaking hurricane season last year. You saw what happened at the end of hurricane season. We just saw boom, 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 boom. We saw a bunch of hurricanes kind of forming in the Caribbean and Gulf, and we saw some good landfalls and some strong landfalls at the end of the season. So if we don't get that obstruction in the beginning of this upcoming hurricane season out here, we'll get some pretty big numbers. I think we'll get a decent amount of cyclones. Yeah, the end was crazy. That's what they thought the entire hurricane season was going to be last year, but the beginning was obstructed by all that Saharan dust, dry air that was sitting off the coast of Africa. Guys, I'm going to get off stream, and then I'm going to get back on in 5 minutes, and I'm going to be streaming Outbreak. It's like a tornado chaser game, and I'm just going to be playing it with Matt and my brother because it's just for fun. So if you want to get back in there in the stream 5 minutes and hang out, happy Friday. Cheers. Yeah, you can. I appreciate you guys being in here. I appreciate any of the gifts, subs, follows. Obviously, just being in chat. I'm going to get off for a second. I'll be right back on, and then I'll be doing something a little bit different. Actually, playing a Storm Chaser game. So, I will see you guys soon. Peace. What's up, Flower?